popular Jacksonville drill rapper Charles Jones, who performs under the name Foolio, was shot in the foot. A picture obtained by First Coast News shows the car he was driving riddled with bullet holes. You can see it there. Law enforcement sources have confirmed to First Coast News that this is the same shooting that occurred early this morning on West 16th Street near the Paxson School for Advanced Studies.
The Jacksonville rapper known as Julio made a rare court appearance today, just days before jury selection in his criminal case is scheduled to begin. Julio, whose real name is Charles Jones, is charged with felony fleeing and eluding police during an April traffic stop.
Turn around! Turn around! Bring him back, bring him back, bring him back.
Foolio has been a key figure in a bloody rivalry between two Jacksonville gangs, the other gang publicly represented by another rapper, Young and Ace.
In a riveting tale of survival and rivalry, the air was ablaze with gunfire, an astonishing barrage of bullets filling the scene. Join us in this gripping documentary as we unravel the harrowing journey of the one and only Julio Foolio, the rapper who emerged unscathed from the chaos. We'll dissect the aftermath with a rival artist taking to Instagram to dub it a failed mission. Prepare to be on the edge of your seats as we recount every life-threatening attempt made on Foolio's life and his remarkable ability to slip through the clutches of danger. This is the electrifying saga of Julio Foolio, a story of near misses and resilience that defied the odds. Violence pervades many urban areas today, often rooted in street-level conflicts and rivalries between various gangs. One such region in the United States grappling with this issue is Duval County, located in Florida.
I want to let you know where I'm at 28th and Moncrief, at this park here. You can see lots of kids playing here, but on the other end of the park is where that person was shot and killed last night.
Within Duval County, a group of rappers has garnered significant attention for their seemingly unrestrained expressions, both in their lyrics and through their actions. Some have even gone so far as to label these artists as exceptionally aggressive, likening their demeanor to that of demons. One such figure is the artist who goes by the name of Julio Foolio. Julio gained notoriety for their provocative musical compositions that resonate with an unexpectedly large audience. But all of the music that was recorded by Foolio isn't just for shock value, nor was it written in an artistic fashion, portraying another person's life. As a matter of fact, Foolio had a lot of trouble in his life, and he struggled more than a lot of people know. That is the reason why his tracks come impregnated with traumatic stories. Julio Foolio, born in 1998 in Jacksonville, has a notable history. His early years were marked by involvement in gang activities, commencing during middle school with the 6 Block or Ventureland gang. This particular gang stands out in Jacksonville for its reputation as both the most reviled and the most violent. Within the 6 Block ranks, Julio found affiliation alongside figures like K Shorty. Notably, their principal adversaries are the ATK gang, which includes prominent names like Xu and Youngin Ace. Foolio's life took a dark turn at the tender age of 12 when his father became a victim of gang violence. Sadly, at 15, he experienced another tragedy when his friend Aaron passed away. This period coincided with his attendance at an alternative school in Grand Park, an area claimed by the Head First gang. Trouble ensued as Head First members discovered Foolio's association with 6 Block, erroneously implicating him in the demise of one of their own. Foolio miraculously survived a shooting during this incident, but the consequences were severe. He was expelled from Jacksonville's Last Chance School. At the age of 17, Foolio encountered further legal issues when he was apprehended with a firearm, resulting in his placement in a juvenile detention center for an unspecified duration, possibly a month. It's worth noting that the gun was not registered to him, but Foolio has refrained from disclosing its source, as doing so could be perceived as implicating others. During this turbulent phase of his life, Foolio began gaining recognition in the music scene, shooting music videos in cemeteries and rival neighborhoods. He initiated a trend of dissing deceased individuals, a practice that offers a sense of impunity, given the impossibility of retaliation from the deceased. Now, let's delve into the feud involving Julio Foolio, starting with his conflict with Xu. At one point, Foolio and Xu were close associates, but their relationship soured when Xu joined the ATK gang and was involved in the killing of Bibby. Bibby had affiliations with 6 Block and held a significant place in Foolio's life, akin to a younger brother. The contentious song Who I Smoke serves as a grim celebration of the deaths of Tiki and Bibby, both from 6 Block, as well as Lil 9, a member of Young and Reckless. Remarkably, the song samples 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton, a track recognized for its appearance in the movie White Chicks. Vanessa Carlton's connection to the song has, in a way, given her a renewed spotlight, and it's intriguing how she has continued to be associated primarily with this one composition. Interestingly, Foolio's response to this situation resulted in the creation of the song When I See You, which he filmed in Melvin Park, the neighborhood where Young and Ace and the ATK gang reside. In this song, Foolio mocked an incident in which Ace was shot and 3 of his close friends lost their lives. While both Ace and Foolio have stated that there is no beef between them, they have engaged in confrontational live interactions suggesting underlying tensions. Young Boy is known to be in association with Young and Ace, with several collaborative songs between them. Interestingly, Young Boy has referenced Julio Foolio multiple times in his songs, often using these mentions as a means of dissing him. During one of Young Boy's tours in Jacksonville, an incident unfolded when Foolio and his entourage arrived at the hotel where Young Boy was accommodated. Upon spotting Foolio and his crew, Young Boy hastily retreated to his hotel room. However, a predicament arose as Foolio had knowledge of the specific room Young Boy was staying in.
I pulled up to ask him what Foolio does that shit stand for. I did, I honestly did, but I just turned into...
You and him never talk, right?
Before that, we never talked.
The trouble with NBA Young Boy never amounted to much of a conflict. However, the same cannot be said for Foolio's beef with Young and Ace. His beef with Young and Ace is probably the reason why he was shot at multiple times and why he almost lost his life. It is one of the most dangerous and bloody rap beefs that we have ever seen. The pivotal moment in Foolio's life came thanks to the beef with Young and Ace that forever changed his life. It all started with one of Ace's friends embarking on a mission, driven by the desire for retribution following a robbery that had personally affected him. Armed with information pinpointing the whereabouts of the alleged robber, who was located on the west side of Jacksonville at Julio's cousin's residence, he decided to take matters into his own hands. He entered the house by hurling a brick through the sliding door, gaining access from the rear of the property. Shockingly, he embarked on this perilous endeavor without donning a mask or gloves. However, the mission didn't unfold as planned. Rather than finding the individual responsible for the robbery, he ended up tragically taking the life of Julio's cousin Zion and inflicting wounds upon a 9-year-old girl. This incident served as a critical turning point, sparking what would evolve into a full-fledged conflict. If Zion's death marked the inception of the feud, it was undoubtedly the catalyst that propelled it into a more sinister phase. Subsequently, Zion's sister became the target, suffering a staggering 14 gunshot wounds in a brazen attempt to prevent her from testifying at trial. Remarkably, she survived the ordeal. Meanwhile, the individual responsible for the initial shooting, an associate of Young and Ace, received a life sentence. Nonetheless, this was just the beginning. Julio's cousin's death, being the inaugural casualty in the feud, ignited a thirst for vengeance within the KTA faction. They were determined to exact swift retribution. Around this time, Young and Ace's music career was gaining momentum, with his track F That amassing millions of views on WorldStar within days. Fans were already drawing comparisons between him and Young Boy. However, what transpired just a week later would have far-reaching consequences.
A shooter or shooters on the run after 4 teens are gunned down to the south side. What we're learning about the men killed in a drive-by shooting. 18-year-old Trayvon Bullard, 19-year-old Jacoby Groover, and 18-year-old Royale Smith.
The scene unfolds on a June Tuesday in 2018 as Young and Ace, accompanied by his brother and 2 friends, embarks on a visit to Wasabi, a Japanese steakhouse. The occasion marks the 18th birthday of one of Ace's friends, setting the stage for a celebratory atmosphere. Amid the festivity, photographs are snapped, documenting the joyous moments. However, unbeknownst to them, a looming threat hangs over their gathering. Rival factions had managed to pinpoint their exact location, courtesy of Ace's Instagram story. He had posted pictures taken outside the steakhouse, even recording his friends' activities inside the restaurant, and shared these moments with his followers. Tragically, their enemies lie in wait outside the eatery, clandestinely observing their every move as they dine. Upon concluding their meal, the group departs the restaurant, embarking on a journey along the highway. It's at a red traffic signal that the assailants make their move. Opening fire on the passenger side of Ace's vehicle, they unleash a hail of bullets, resulting in a devastating quadruple shooting. In the wake of the ambush, Ace's 2 closest friends and his brother succumb to the gunfire, while Ace himself is left in critical condition. The news of this horrifying incident reaches Julio Foolio, although he is initially led to believe that Young and Ace had not survived the attack. Ace managed to survive the harrowing ordeal, but it came at a heavy cost, the lives of his brother and 2 closest friends. Paradoxically, the growing attention garnered by this tragic incident provided a boost to his burgeoning music career. Moreover, the adversity motivated Ace to create his most prominent track to date, Pain, which achieved viral status, amassing a staggering 50 million views on YouTube. However, the spate of violence was far from over. With each new song Ace released, his rival, YNR Mookie, mirrored the titles to craft diss tracks. The Jacksonville police even established a specialized department, the Violence Reduction Strategy Team, tasked with scrutinizing music videos from both factions for potential leads. The assistant chief remarked that while entertainment might not be the primary goal, they recognized that these artists were creating authentic rap music.
And gunfire erupts inside a Northwest Side apartment complex. It leaves this 16-year-old dead. Neighbors say that the shooting sounded like a war zone.
In February 2019, Foolio's younger brother, Bibby, found himself targeted for assassination. At the tender age of 16, Bibby was returning home from school in his neighborhood, the Hilltop Apartments on Jacksonville's north side. He and a friend were sitting on a gazebo in the courtyard, engrossed in their phones, when the tranquility was shattered by a hail of gunfire. Panic-stricken, they dropped their phones and bolted in different directions, desperately seeking cover. In under 15 seconds, a staggering 60 rounds were fired. Tragically, Bibby lost his life instantly. A year later, court documents unveiled the identity of the assailant, Xu, who allegedly drove for hours, circling the complex, lying in wait, and ultimately carrying out the fatal attack at close range. Xu's bond was set at a hefty $4 million. Foolio's life was marred by the devastating losses of his brother and cousin within a short span. However, 2019 marked a turning point for his music career. He achieved consistent million-view milestones, back-to-back, all while operating independently. Now let us focus our attention on the attempts at Foolio's life and how he managed to survive attempts at his life time and time again. Given the nature of his music and the fact that he was involved in a gang war, it doesn't come as a surprise that Foolio found himself at the crosshairs of his rivals. That's just how the street life works. The very first story that deserves attention is that of the assassination attempt of Julio Foolio when he was allegedly shot at around 100 times, just like young Dolph. Julio, who took to Instagram to recount a recent incident, stirred considerable excitement within the rap community. Shortly after the incident, Julio Foolio went live on the platform to share details of a shootout that he purportedly survived. A shootout in Florida may not come as a complete surprise given the region's history, but this particular episode stands out due to the astonishing claim that more than 100 shots were fired at him. It is indeed remarkable that he remains unharmed. At present, there are no official reports detailing the incident's precise timing. However, based on Foolio's statements, it is likely that the shooting took place in the early hours of November 8, 2021. Around 5 a.m. on that day, Foolio made an Instagram post discussing the shooting, indicating that he was allegedly targeted. He asserted that he retaliated, emphasizing how he had emptied his entire firearm magazine toward the assailants. In the post, he shared an image of his firearm on the floor, with the slide pushed back, indicating the need for a reload. In his video, Foolio also mentioned that he was not injured, but had only sustained a graze, which is reassuring for his supporters but potentially unsettling for his rivals, as it hints at the possibility of another diss track in the near future.
Not no shooters. I emptied my whole clip on my daddy. Stop playing with me. I didn't get hit. I got grazed in the leg. Stop playing. On trading. I emptied my whole clip. Stop playing.
In his subsequent Instagram post, shortly following the initial one, Julio Foolio addressed those who had fired at him. He remarked, "While the term literally is often used casually, if Julio's account is accurate, it's indeed astonishing. Surviving an ordeal where one is targeted with 100 shots, only to emerge with a graze, raises questions of divine protection, or perhaps the alleged shooters were markedly inaccurate." Foolio later took to Instagram Live to provide further insights into the situation. During the live session, he acknowledged fans who felt he was disclosing too much. However, what amplifies the intensity of the shootout narrative is Foolio's revelation that one of the shooters, implying there were multiple assailants, possessed 2 firearms. Foolio claimed his adversaries were armed with 2 choppers and a crew. This not only underscores the gravity of the situation, but also hints at a profound level of aggression. It appears they were determined to harm Foolio, deploying multiple individuals and firearms, yet still unable to achieve their goal. If these accounts hold true without embellishment, Foolio's resilience and fortune appear extraordinary.
Who do you look at that I'm running from? They gonna trade these. Who do you look at that I'm running from, man? No bounce. Hey, stop saying on the police post that. Listen, how you turn it down? Yeah. Listen, on trading my gun and register, I shot back in self-defense. Y'all dumb. I shot back in self-defense. You don't think if I did something illegal, I would be in jail? The police put me in the back of the car, type of shit. Did miss a whole 100 shots though. You know they sick right now. Whoever did it, they sick. One had 2 choppers, 1 me. I'm blowing back. I'm trading.
According to Foolio, he now harbors no fear of potential threats or reprisals, likely buoyed by a sense of invincibility after surviving what he claims to be a 100-round shootout with only a graze. Following his initial post regarding the alleged shootout, Julio Foolio faced immediate criticism from individuals who believed he was divulging too much information online. These critics contended that he should exercise discretion, particularly on social media, to avoid potential legal complications. While this perspective is understandable, it's worth noting that Foolio's situation differs significantly from the typical concerns regarding law enforcement involvement. In a subsequent Instagram post, Foolio addressed these concerns directly. He confidently asserted that he had no reason to fret over potential legal ramifications. He emphasized two crucial points: his firearm is registered, and he discharged his weapon in self-defense. Both assertions carry considerable weight for several reasons. Firstly, Foolio correctly pointed out that in Florida, individuals are legally permitted to employ deadly force if they genuinely fear for their life. This legal provision offers significant protection, as it implies that should an altercation escalate to a life-threatening situation, an individual can respond with lethal force without facing legal consequences. Foolio's possession of a registered firearm amplifies this advantage. Essentially, he enjoys a substantial advantage over potential adversaries, as he can act swiftly and decisively when confronted with a perceived threat, without fearing legal repercussions. Furthermore, it's noteworthy that Foolio's gun license extends to many other southern states, affording him a level of security and accessibility to firearms that most do not possess. This ensures he remains perpetually armed, unburdened by concerns of being searched and charged with illegal possession. He retains the capability to respond to any perceived threats with potentially lethal force, always under the guise of self-defense. Crucially, Foolio's actions cannot be classified as snitching, as he refrained from identifying individuals involved or engaging in any illegal activities. His ability to openly discuss firearm usage stems from his legal right to carry a registered firearm, thereby granting him the privilege of discussing such incidents without fear of legal repercussions or police intervention due to unlawful firearm possession. Foolio isn't the one who should be concerned about potential snitching or self-incrimination. Instead, those in the hot seat are the individuals seemingly taunting him and inadvertently making themselves look complicit in a recent shooting incident. One such rapper causing a stir in Florida is Wappa with the Choppa, who has been gaining significant recognition in the music scene, often collaborating with Young Janace and Spinna Benz. Wappa took to his social media in a rather ill-advised manner to react to the alleged shooting incident, despite not even being in the same city at the time. His post managed to cast suspicion upon himself, especially when he shared a story featuring the classic Call of Duty tagline, "Mission failed." To further exacerbate matters, he followed it up with another post displaying an image of an op pack, with Foolio's face crossed out and X's over his eyes, set to R. Kelly's song, Wish. In the wake of these posts, accusations began flying, and many started suspecting Wappa's involvement in the alleged shootout. Wappa responded to the mounting speculations by asserting that he was not even in the city during the incident, and was in fact in Atlanta at the time. He suggested that Foolio, whom he referred to using feminine pronouns, may have greatly exaggerated the situation. Exaggeration isn't uncommon, especially when it could bolster one's reputation. However, the truth remains known only to Foolio and the individuals allegedly involved in the shooting. Ideally, those individuals should maintain silence to avoid attracting the attention of law enforcement. It's important to note that the local police have made it clear that they have a specialized unit dedicated to monitoring posts like the one made by Wappa. This implies that, whether intended or not, Wappa might be under heightened police scrutiny now, even though his music often displays aggression toward his rivals. Foolio is a rapper known for relentless trolling of his adversaries and anyone he sees as competition. He does so in the most disrespectful ways, even dancing on the grave sites of his deceased rivals while referencing them in his songs. He shares similarities with Tekashi 6ix9ine in the realm of trolling, but is willing to resort to violence if necessary. He's a provocateur who craves confrontation. While 6ix9ine was primarily a troll, Foolio combines trolling with a willingness to take extreme measures if push comes to shove. He's the type who won't back down from a fight. Many of his songs essentially serve as detailed accounts of his deceased rivals, almost like academic papers on the casualties in Duval County. Some tracks, such as List of Dead Ops, and others, function as lists of deceased rivals, providing a comprehensive overview of what happened to each of them. While these might not strictly be categorized as diss tracks, Foolio goes through the names and recounts their stories. It's more akin to an informational recollection. Unfortunately, for anyone with a loved one mentioned in his his tracks, there's likely a desire for retribution. Unluckily for them, as previously mentioned, Julio is armed and legally so. While he may not be untouchable, he's certainly well prepared and protected, making it considerably more challenging for any potential adversaries. This applies both in terms of physical encounters and in the realm of music. In Florida, few rappers can do what Foolio does, pushing boundaries that most dare not approach. In a recent incident, Julio Foolio narrowly escaped what seemed like an attempt on his life, but the consequences were severe. He was shot, and the situation was far from good.
A residential neighborhood, and the car that he was driving is riddled in bullets, as you can see here in this photo. And according to police, they are saying that Foolio is not cooperating with authorities, and from the looks of it, he drove himself to UF Health Hospital in Jacksonville.
Julio provided an update on his condition following a shooting incident in Jacksonville, Florida. Reports suggest that he was shot during the early hours of Saturday, October 7th. His black Dodge Challenger was struck by multiple bullets, and he was rushed to a local hospital with serious injuries. Despite the incident, Julio Foolio hasn't been forthcoming with information to law enforcement. However, a disturbing photo circulating online shows what appears to be a bloody wound on Julio Foolio's foot. In the world of music and street culture, rivalries and conflicts have often taken center stage, occasionally overshadowing the immense talent and potential for positive change within communities. The story of Julio Foolio, a rapper hailing from the heart of Jacksonville, Florida, is a reminder of the complex interplay between art, personal history, and the realities of life in neighborhoods marked by violence. While the tensions and confrontations portrayed in his music might capture headlines and fuel debates, it's essential to recognize that behind the bravado and rivalries, there lies an opportunity for something greater. We must remember that the artists themselves are reflections of the environments from which they've emerged, shaped by experiences that many of us can only imagine. However, it's crucial to acknowledge that there is a way forward, a path toward positive change that can transform communities plagued by violence. The first step lies in addressing the root causes of these conflicts: inequity, lack of opportunities, and a culture that sometimes glorifies violence. By investing in education, mentorship, and community programs, we can create a future where young talents like Julio Foolio can channel their energy and creativity into uplifting their neighborhoods, rather than perpetuating cycles of violence. Ultimately, the hope is for these artists and communities to find common ground, to bridge the divides that fuel rivalries, and to work together towards a better future. Music, after all, has the power to transcend boundaries, to unite people in pursuit of a shared vision. Let us remember the positive impact that artists can have, not just as storytellers of their realities, but as catalysts for change. As we look ahead, let us aspire to a future where violence becomes a relic of the past, where communities thrive through collaboration, and where the creative talents that emerge from these neighborhoods serve as beacons of hope and inspiration for generations to come. It is within our collective power to shape this future, to turn the page on violence, and to create a more harmonious world for all.